just to respect everybody's time, it's only about two more people that are supposed to come. I know one is traveling, but we'll go ahead and pop it off for the best interest of time. And when they come in, we'll give them their few moments to shine or whatever. Um, Real quick, the purpose of this, man, I had an idea and a vision that um, we needed to have a discussion, and I have the pleasure of knowing all of y'all individually. Some of you guys have met through me, but we all have one common thing um, in interest here, in the fact that we are Black men in America. And I kind of want to know, your perspectives, because I think your stories are important. Your voice is very important. And I respect every last one of y'all, and I value y'all's opinions. And not only do I value them, you guys have good talking points. So throughout this, you guys know, I don't really expect us to agree on every single thing, but I think it's important for us to engage civilly and be able to discuss all these different perspectives that we have about what's going on currently in America, and just like our positions in America and our growing up. So I'm acting more as a facilitator. This would probably be the most that I'll talk, because I really want to know how you guys are. When you have something that you want to say, just unmute yourself real quick after the next person is talking, and then give your spiel, and we can roll on from there. But here come Peyton right now. But so, like, the first thing, man, I just want to check on you guys mentally. So, like, in the wake of all of this, man, how's your mental state with everything that's going on? Anybody can unmute it and go at it.
And I guess I will. Me personally, man, I'm really kind of have mixed emotions about everything that's going on, man. Because I got for y'all that know me, I got a biracial daughter, and don't really know if she knows what's really going on. She just thinks she's still out from school dealing with the COVID. She's not really aware of everything that's going on due to the George Floyd murder or whatever. And so I see that a lot of people are out uniting, like all different backgrounds or whatever. And then at the same time, it looks like, we're in different states, different cities, people all coming together. You see a bunch of, like I said, different backgrounds of people together, kneeling, holding hands, whatever, protesting together. And then at the same time, you see stuff like the guy out in California, black guy out in California that just got hung. And so it's one of those things you're like, George Floyd might have changed the world, but at the same time, you're going to be dealing with a lot of stuff. And I live in Northwest Arkansas, where it's pretty much predominantly like white. And so at the same time, it makes me a little nervous going out places. Me and my daughter normally go for a bike ride or a walk every single day, but we kind of cut back on that just because of what's going on. And so, like I said, I just don't know how to feel about it, but I stay on guard, really. That's the only thing I can do up here.
And jumping in on that, staying on guard. I mean, I live in a white neighborhood. Our school district is a traditionally white school district. So, I was telling my wife back in mid-January, I'm riding to the school. I think I might have been going to change laundry over or something. But, I get pulled over. And, before all this, activism started happening after the George Floyd situation and the Ahmaud situation, even before that, I was a black man in America. So definitely was guarded. Definitely was real hesitant. I think as black men, we got to be a certain type of way around police. So I definitely feel that on guard statement that you made.
Guaranteed. And like I said, I can kind of piggyback off what Mr. Marlon said and my partner Rycross said there as well. like we've all grew up in the same boat, man. We've been black all our lives, so I mean, nobody other than us knows how it feels to just ride in your car and be checking your rearview mirrors just to see if somebody's behind you. And that's not even, that you're doing anything wrong. It's just, it's kind of how we were brought up. And me personally, I haven't had any bad dealings with any type of law enforcement, but still seeing, people of color, whether it be, black people, Hispanics, people that look like me, not doing anything wrong and having something negative happen to them, when they're trying to do the right thing. I mean, it makes me feel some type of way, especially, like I say, man, I have an 11-year-old in my household, male, and then I also have a 3-year-old in my household, male. So, I mean, you guys can only think about the things that are going through my head and the type of things that I'm going to have to explain to my kids at some point to, like, hey, we have to do things a little bit different than what other people do, and actually having to break it down to them that it could be because of your skin color. Like, I mean, that, I hate that we still in that, that type of space at this time.
Yeah, man, like back to Jeremy's original question, where's our mental? I'm just exhausted, man. Unlike my brother, unlike Marlon, I don't have any kids. Unlike Nico, I don't have any kids of my own. But as a coach, I have so many different athletes that I have to give guidance to, and just coming from the school where I came from, where 60% of our kids are black, and I'm the only black coach, one of two only black teachers. I mean, I'm the only voice, the only face that they really have, because the only other teacher is at the elementary school. So, man, just mentally exhausted, because like he said, man, we're living in a time where we're riding around and not doing anything wrong, but you can put a twist to it and they can put a story to it to make it seem like these killings are justified. And having to see this ignorance, that's what it is, man, basically, all over social media, man, and it's just exhausting. It really, truly is, man. But one thing about it, though, nobody's hiding anymore. They're not able to. The hate is being brought to the forefront. It really is.
To piggyback on what AC said a little bit, it's very exhausting. I remember, was it like a week and a half ago when everything first started, when George Floyd got killed, and I think Trump came out and said it made his little rant or whatever. I remember telling my girlfriend, I told her I was scared. I'm a black man scared in America now, and I haven't been scared or terrified of nothing in a very long time. We got a son. I don't know. Every day I look at him just thinking about his future, and I don't know what to tell him. Well, I know stuff to tell him. I don't know how to explain to him why this isn't right, why people will look at you because of your skin color and treat you different because of your skin color. Because we grew up in a small town where I've gotten stopped after football practice, and they told me I was smoking weed because my eyes was red, straight out of football practice. So it's for me right now, mentally, it's just a little struggle now being a father instead of a son, trying to raise a black boy in America. So mentally, that's what I'm struggling with right now, trying to put that together.
I'm a piggyback as well off the exhaustion. And I'll be honest, like I say, I'm not necessarily exhausted for myself, because I feel like me, myself as a man, you know what, we as men, we can handle things and we kind of take things as they come. I don't have any kids, but my concern and my worry comes from my family, because I just the thought of being like I can go down the street to Whataburger right now, something go left, and for my mom, my grandma, somebody to get a phone call saying that I've been basically murdered by police off of a traffic stop, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I say I'm the only child, so like I'm all they got. And for them to get that call or something like that, that's my biggest fear. Like for myself, I feel like, okay, if I get in a situation, because we've all have, I don't know if y'all seen the poster with the kid telling like the rules his mom used to tell him growing up as a black kid, like you go to the store, don't touch nothing, don't put your hands in your pocket, stuff like that. We've all kind of been there, we've all kind of done that. So we've all got experience in kind of dealing with situations and kind of trying to keep them from de-escalating, trying to keep them from going left. But for something like that to happen, that's like my biggest worry. And that mentally exhausts me every time I leave the house. Like going to work, coming home from work, just going to the store. It's like any little thing, you got to be on guard. So that's where I'm at mentally.
Hey, you got where you at mentally, man? You're on mute right now, bro.
Yeah, I needed the question. You know, I came in late, but
Right.
what'd you say? Where I'm at mentally?
Yeah, how's your mental state right now?
Well, I mean, growing up, I mean, this is things that I've heard, like Smoot said, things that you hear all the time growing up. You know, when you go to the store, when you get stopped, there's certain rules as a Black man that you have to follow to make sure that you have a positive chance of making it home safe. I mean, looking at it now, you see people still do the right thing. They don't make it home safe. But mentally, for me, and I lean more where Smoot was at, just worrying as far as like with my family. You know, I got a fiance now. Just driving back from Dallas, Texarkana to Dallas, just a couple of hours ago. Shoot, I just started speeding a little bit. You know, that even got her worried just looking at what happened to these past couple of people from the car stops. I mean, anything that you do, I mean, that can be perceived as a threat once you get stopped. I mean, speeding, anything that you do, I mean, they can say that you got drugs on you, something of that nature. I mean, it just depends, but I mean, more of a worry for what I have in the future, like a fiance, kids. Where will that go from here? I mean, looking at it now, it seems like it's a change, and it's not how it used to be. I mean, people are starting to speak up. You can see where people are at now, and with social media, I mean, it shows that they're speaking out as far as like with what's going on. But I mean, I just hope that with people that are speaking out, it don't die down as far as like with Black Lives Matter and all that type of stuff. So as long as we keep it going, I mean, that'll be good. But like Smoot said, I mean, more for my family than anything that, you know, that's what worries me.
Respect. Jay, I don't know if you're in a position to talk right now, but if you can, man, how's your mental state?
Man, I'm tired, boss. I think that's a sentiment across the group. But man, it's crazy. Like if you put it in hindsight, protests started 2 weeks ago. It's legit only been 2 weeks since everything has been going on in the country, really in the world. And you expect us to be able to go to work and do me and again in the grand scheme of things, our jobs. Well, some of you guys, educators, great. You guys are making change in the world, but for me, I'm in sales. I'm selling a product for a company that doesn't do anything for the people on the streets that are affected in our communities. So for you to expect me to have to go and clock in on my 9 to 5 and give you my full undivided attention, bro, you got the game fucked up, and excuse my language, but it's just tough, man. It's tiring, and like I'm in the same boat as like Peyton, where there's no kids involved yet, but I got a younger brother that's 21 that's oblivious to everything that's going on. Where he was raised was a good mix of the community, and most of his friends are white, which nothing wrong with it, but I don't think he's ever had to endure or face the normal disadvantages of being a Black man until now. And he's one of those kids. He has dreads. He has wild facial hair. He's got a couple tattoos now, so he just looks like a target. So that's I'm tired, but I'm worried for him. You know, for that generation, those that aren't like us, that aren't maybe as strong. You know, so that's just where I'm at currently.
Good, man. And to just to add on to that real quickly, like I definitely feel all of y'all sentiments, especially like this driving thing. I remember like as a kid, I was young, and I just remember passing the police officer. I'm in the back seat, and I turn around to look and see where the police officer was going. And immediately, my uncle snatched me, like, "Turn! You never turn around to look at the car." And I'm so confused. I'm like, I don't understand why. He's like, "You gonna look suspicious? That's gonna get you pulled over if they see you turning around." And I'm like traumatized. I swear, I'm young, and I still remember that. And that's crazy. These And just for the people that's listening, I want you to understand, like, these stories are not fabricated. Like, these are things that people in here experience every day and like grew up in these moments. But switching questions real quick. One thing that that's common to this group is everybody in here is in a lot of different professional settings, right? And I want to know, like, how do you code switch and how do you balance your position as a professional educator versus or your position in sales or whatever your job is around? I know you're in the jailhouse. Like, how does that affect you? And do you feel pressure to speak out more or dim your light, or how do you go about balancing your professional life?
This is crazy because this is actually a conversation I was having with a couple of the fellas last night. I think in the past, I've done a lot of dimming my light, right? We always, for some reason, put on a different mask when we get into our place of right? Or just so people feel more invited and welcome around you, right? But
You're cutting in and out on us, Jay. I don't know if that's on everybody in, but you're cutting.
But I was just saying, right now it just gave me that motivation to make sure that I'm giving my authentic self at work and not putting on a mask, right? And it's giving me the courage to speak up where necessary. So, and everyone's talking about how they're donating to this cause, they're donating that cause, like they're giving each other pats on the back, right? And I wasn't gonna say anything at first. I sat there, I was just working through the meeting, and then one of my white coworkers was like, "Hey man, how do you feel? Like, you've been quiet. Like, how do you feel about it all?" Man, I snapped. I was like, "Man, good job for donating and giving these and going and walking in protest. But what are y'all saying to y'all's racist cousin? Like, what are you saying to your mother, who you know is said some things that were out of tone? Like, it's just crazy that we have so many smoke screens because of social media that people think they're invoking cause and change because they're just posting this. And the awareness is great, but if you're not tackling these conversations every day within your circles, when your circles are part of the problem, then you're still an issue. So I've been speaking up more. I used to be quiet, but that stopped.
Man, I agree with Jalen 100% on that, because here working at the headquarters at Tyson is nothing but like all like country, like white Republican guys, and they always have something to say. They're the one. I heard one guy saying, "Oh, I don't wear what I had on some Prestos on Friday." He's like, "What kind of shoes are those? I like those a lot." I was like, "Oh, they're Nike Prestos." He's like, "Oh man, I don't wear Nike anymore." And so he didn't say why, but I knew exactly why he didn't wear Nike anymore. And so I kind of let that slide. But within the office, this is not just since the George Floyd thing. This is like an everyday thing where you just hear people always got something to say. Oh, I think I heard someone say in here how they always try to bring up something to justify the murder and the killing every time they do something or whatever. And so one guy that sits directly across from me, he's the main guy that always has something to say. He's a white guy. He's from Huntsville, Arkansas, which is pretty much like it's like probably 5-10 miles from Harrison, which is like the capital of the KKK for Arkansas. And so he always have negative stuff to say. And so I was like, "Hey, Shrum, do you know what's really going on, man? Why they killed this guy? Did you see what happened?" He's like, "Well, man, I just found out the guy was on meth or something like that." I was like, "Dude, that's beside the point. Like they murdered this guy in cold blood, and the guy didn't have any remorse about it. And I'll be honest, that's my first time ever speaking up, just because like I'm tired of hearing the same thing every single day or every single week. You come in with your Trump shirts, your Trump hat, and I normally wouldn't say anything. I'll just kind of sit back and just mind my own business and work. Even though, I mean, I wasn't minding my own business because I'm dropping, listening, just thinking like, man, these dudes don't have a clue about what's really going on out here. And I don't know, but I think that, I'll be honest, like I said, that's my first time ever speaking up. And a lot of guys don't say much to me, to be completely honest. I don't know if it's because I am the only black guy in my area. It's only like 4 in the whole building. So I don't know if they just don't say much around me or what, but that was the one time that or the second time I actually had to speak up, I did.
Go ahead, Lena.
As AC, man, but I'll go ahead real quick. And I'm right there with these two guys. I've never been one to like rock the boat. Especially working in the environments that I work in, it's already uncomfortable. And being the only black person, like I think that was Nico just talking. I'm not familiar with everybody, but like he just said, nobody really ever approaches me with those questions. And I don't know why. I think I know why, but they never approach me. I never approach them. I go to work, and the way I've always felt, I go to work to do my job. So I go there, I do my job, I have my impact on these kids, and I come home. And me and my wife discuss things.
For sure.
But here as of late, people have been getting extremely bold. And I've been one of them, man. And I finally come out of my shell, and everybody has an opinion. So, I mean, my initial thoughts were being an educator, and they always tell us this in our little trainings at the beginning of the year. You can't get on social media and do too much or say much of anything or really have an opinion. But in the wake of things, man, and everything coming to light, I feel like if you're gonna fire me over standing for what I believe in, then hey, I'll take that. You can fire me because I'm going out believing in something and standing for something. And I believe if we ever want to get anywhere, it's gonna take some sacrifice. And no, I'm not just going out of the way and saying ignorant, stupid stuff that's gonna get me fired, but I'm not standing and hiding in the shadows anymore. I'm speaking up. I'm speaking up for my people. And the biggest reason, man, I really look at the couple of kids that have graduated in the past few years from Garrison, and speaking on the black kids specifically, I feel like I failed them. Because being in that environment, you can get in a bubble. You get around these people and things are not spoken about, so we think it's okay. We think that's how life is supposed to be. And they graduate not knowing how to go into the real world and be a black man. I mean, that's what we're here discussing. And I just felt guilt all over my heart, man. So I've been speaking up. I've had posts on social media, Twitter, Facebook. I've tried not to get into the back and forth with people because some people are just so closed-minded to topics. But if I see some stuff that I disagree with, I state my point and I get off. And like Jalen said, these jobs that we go to, I was in Garrison for 5 years, 2 black teachers, surrounded by all white educators. Yeah, we have to put on a mask sometimes. And I just finally took it off, man. And I'm proud I did, to be honest with y'all.
For me, being where I work at the jail, like the word AC just used, bold, I found like more than a few of my coworkers being bold and coming up asking me what I think about like what's going on. And then before I can even tell them my piece on it, they start talking and how what us as black people is doing is wrong. And I have to take a step back and remind myself that I have to talk to them and try to get them to understand like what Cap was kneeling for, or like when I'm at work, the reason I'll go with, let's say somebody do something wrong at work and it's a black, nine times out of 10, it's a black person. I'll go talk to him, calm the situation down, versus a white coworker going to talk to him and then they put hands on him or something like that, and then they mad at me because I'll go and talk to him. And so it's just very bold with me working up there, seeing what's going on. I'll see it firsthand and have my coworkers mad at me for doing what I feel is right, and then having other black people mad at me for working up there when all I'm doing is go up there and do is my job. I'm fighting the same battle that y'all fighting, and I'll pull y'all aside and talk to y'all about the fight that we all fighting together. But I can't fight the fight for us and then you fighting me too. That's two fights to fight. So I feel like as black men, as we are older, we have to talk to the younger generation and get them to understand what we exactly fighting for, because a lot of them don't understand what's going on. They just think it's just live or it's lit, and that's not the case at all.
All right, man. I guess I'll kind of, touch on that. You know, my workplace, man, believe it or not, bro, there's hardly any tension at all. And the reason being is, like I say, I work in insurance. I work for State Farm, working as an agent aspirant. And my office is blended. It's 2 black people, me and another black girl. We have 1 mixed individual, woman, and then we have 3 white people there as well. So, and man, believe it or not, the guy that I work for, bro, he makes it a point to, like, if we feeling some type of way as a team, let's all go talk about it. You know what I mean? So as far as everything that's been going on, every time somebody has been killed, every time, protests and different things are going on, like, he's wanting to hear our point on it, and how we feel. And then, like I say, he'll voice his opinion on it as well. Working in the role that I work in, bro, like, I deal with a lot of people, of the public as well. So you can only imagine the type of people that I talk to that I'm trying to get insurance. And then, the type of attitude that sometimes comes along with that, and, certain types of people that you talk to. And, I'm not trying to group people in a certain type of category, whatever the case, but you guys all know, like I say, certain people act certain types of ways on both sides of the spectrum. So, man, it is sometimes hard trying to focus on your work, knowing that all this stuff is going on and everything that's kind of going along with it. We don't know what's going to come about. We all know that we want change, but it's kind of thinking about how is that change going to come about. So, I mean, you in your workplace, man, it's easy for you to be in this spot and then, your mind be somewhere else.
Yeah, I think, and my workplace is a little different. Like I said, I work for the VA, so I deal here in Texas. So that tells you a lot right there. So I find them asking me things, but not really wanting to know the truth. You know what I'm saying? Or kind of making comments, but not really wanting to hear the real deal. Like, I overheard one of my coworkers working in the same office as me, right across the thing. And she was actually on a call, and she was like, "Yeah, it's crazy right now. Like, people out here, things are going crazy because what people are doing during the riots. People just behave and blah blah blah." And I'm like, we need to like basically like we kind of have to talk about it. So I kind of, I'm like, what? You don't really understand what's going on. I say, there are more peaceful things going on than unpeaceful things. Like, the media is going to portray what they want to portray. Of course, they're going to show you X, Y, Z, but they don't show you this over here. These guys over here actually doing things the right way. Also, I find myself sometimes into conversations or actual like patients trying to bait me into conversations by using our president. Like, our president, this. And, by my job where I work for, technically I'm not going to get into that. You know what I'm saying? Because technically we're going to be real about it. It's kind of like my boss. You know what I'm saying? So I'm kind of like, you know what? Especially in a conversation with you, what you say really kind of goes, because if you go to them and then they come to me about it, I'm kind of, so I really see them kind of baiting me into it. And I just kind of always go back to, well, we shouldn't really pass judgment, because cap is a big subject. Cap is a big topic when things go on. Huge. If I got, like you said, Chris with the shoes, if I got on Nikes, I'll show them, demonstrate exercise. They say, "Oh, I like them shoes. What kind of shoes are them? Oh, these Nike Vapor Max." "Oh, well, no, I don't wear Nike no more." Blah, blah, blah. I say, "What you think about that?" I think we all need to understand the point of the protest. You know what I'm saying? It was never directly here. We need to understand the point, and I just kind of leave it right there. So I guess, I mean, I kind of find myself, and maybe I'm doing a little bit of it to myself as well, like handcuffed a little bit, but also at times I am getting the point across and kind of educating too, like, no, that's not what we're doing. Are people receptive to it? Most times, not really, because people want to hear what they want to hear. They want to believe what they want to believe, and they follow who they follow, and that's what that person says. That's what they want to believe, and it makes them feel better about the decisions they make and how they feel about certain things.
Yeah, on my end, I'm pretty much in the same boat as Nico, because I work with State Farm as well. I'm more of a corporate end, but with that, I get calls from agents all over. And recently with this, with the riots and things, they'll call in saying, hey, man, got these riots in this state, man, this thing's covered. Then that leads into, man, I can't even really be happy about the riots. The agents, they'll call in, asking, hey, what do you think about the riots and things of that nature? And my position previously to that, HR, and I think somebody said that earlier, in HR, they don't want you to engage in things like that. But recently I have been more bold and thinking about stepping out and actually saying, wait, I don't necessarily think, you gotta see where they're coming from on their end. And that's where, as far as like with me and my workplace, I'm being more bold and stepping up to the plate in that aspect of it. Like normally, yeah, I'm more of the quiet type, don't speak out, corporate guy. But nowadays, looking at the world now, you have to say something. You can't just be quiet and let things slide by. Even if it's in your workplace, there are some limitations there, but there's ways around it to get your voice out, even in those scenarios there. So, even where I'm at now, I try to be more bold with that stuff.
Listening to everybody talk, man, it seemed like, of course, everybody's employed. You got insurance, but then you got education, and you got corporate or overhead people who's making rules for you. And, made me think about Shaka Smart down at UT. They said back when Trump was elected, he made a statement, about how disappointed he was, or, something along those lines. And then, the president of the school, reach out to him like, hey, like, no, we ain't gonna do that here. And, I saw somebody post that. And so I was like, man, there's no way. It's no way that happened. And I actually went back through Shaka's Twitter, and there has been nothing political on his Twitter. Like with all this stuff going on, all the social issues going on, like he hadn't said a word. So that let me know that, it's gotta be, it hurt me because it's gotta be bigger than a paycheck. Of course, we got a big platform as coaches, to impact change and impact athletes and touch a lot of kids at one time when, most people wouldn't be able to influence that many in a lifetime. So it's the fine line of, do I give up my platform speaking out, or do I let my platform tell me I can't talk? So that was disappointing. So when I saw that, I was like, that can't be me. That won't be me. Thinking about my situation back when the whole cap protest happened, all of my social media, my Twitter, I was heavy on Twitter. So I went and took my school off my Twitter. I didn't want anybody being able to go back and say, oh, he affiliated with Oak Ridge High School, or he's affiliated with Conroe ISD, or he's affiliated here. So I'm gonna go to his superintendent and tell them, get your employees in check. So yeah, it has had an impact on how I voice my concerns, but it's to the point where I try to remove myself from my school and my district so I can just tell my point of view. And, you know, that kind of, it sucks on the whole branding part because I want people to know I do work at Oak Ridge High School. I want our students to know that I'm proud of our school and I'm proud of our district. So when they look at my social media, it should say Oak Ridge, you know, but I let the thought of if I speak too boldly, you know, kind of hold me back. And, you know, that I had some situations where I had to walk in the classroom with teachers. We had some uncomfortable conversations in our office. You know, I don't have all black staff, so I got some staff members who's Republican. I got some staff members who's pro-police, and you know, we have uncomfortable conversations. And I will never be ashamed of being black. You know, I'll never be ashamed of being who I am and what I represent. I tell people all the time, I got into education to look out for the black kids. Simple. Like, not saying that I don't care about the white kids, not saying I don't care about the Hispanic kids, but they look like me. And if I'm not going to advocate for them, if I'm not going to fight for them, if I'm not going to be a voice for them, is this 60-something-year-old white woman going to do that? Probably less than 10% of the time, you know. So I think that we as educators especially, and we got to be those voices for those kids, because deep down, will everybody else have that same voice? They dang sure won't have the same perspective as us as young black men, you know, when we're teaching these kids. So, you know, I'm growing. You know, I'm 34 years old, and I tell people I'm still learning every single day. You know, I'm gonna be 50 something, and I'm gonna still be learning. You know, so I'm steady growing. You know, steady trying to see how I can be most impactful in my dialogue with people to create the most change. You know, so because if I come at them angry, then they're gonna shut you down right away. But just trying to figure out how to maneuver and how to make the most change possible.
Like it. I'm hearing a lot of, I think one of the themes here from the beginning of the conversation was this premise of code switching, right? And so how do you guys, how has your code switching been? I know personally for me, like I learned how to code switch at a very young age of if my natural voice and dialect is one way, then it needs to switch when I change settings, right? And so like how has code switching been for you guys? Do you still feel that it's necessary, or is it time to fully embrace, you know, who you are and how you speak and all of that?
Man, that's a great question. Oh, my bad.
Go ahead, Chris. No, go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
Man, I think that's a great question, man, because that's something I struggle with on a daily basis. Like Smalls, I learned how to code switch back in as a freshman in high school, and but at work I deal like I said, I'm over 50 or 60 people over in Mississippi operations, and so these older people, they'll call me, and I've had a few like, hey, Chris, don't take this the wrong way, but are you black or white? And I've been in this position now for about 4 or 5 months, to the point where I don't even code switch anymore when I'm talking to my drivers. And like I said, I heard Marlon say, you know, we have to deal with that at work or whatever. And that's the biggest struggle for me, honestly, is I catch myself every once in a while where I'll be talking to my black drivers. I'm like, man, you know, like talking to them like I'm talking to one of the homies. And then next thing you know, one of my white country drivers calls in or whatever, and then I pretty much have to, you know, do pretty much a 360 just to have a normal conversation with the guy. And to the point how it's changed. It hadn't changed a lot with I guess my people, but when it comes to the direct, the bosses that's over me and everything, I feel like I have to do that a lot more, because the things that's going on now. But before I didn't really have to. But with everything going on now, I feel like with my boss and his bosses and up the chain, I feel like I have to, because I always think it's a constant battle for me, because I'm like, you know, I love my job. Like, I've been promoted this many times. You know, I don't know if I like it just because I've been promoted. It pays well. And so that's the only thing that's always in the back of my head, man. Should I stand up and say this, or should I say this, or should I believe in this because I work here, or do this because I work here, or should I really stand on what I actually believe? I mean, I think like Marlon said, you know, I'm proud to be Black, and I never go against that for nothing. Even with these guys, I mean, if they say stuff I don't like, you know, sometimes I just have to hold my tongue. Actually, all the time. But I don't know. It's kind of, I don't know. I'm on the fence with the code switching, just because, like, you know, like I said, I have 50 drivers that I oversee, and a lot of them are like older Black people, and I can kind of be myself. I guess be myself with them, and then when I talk to like other people or like bigger bosses or whatever, and that's when I feel like I have to code switch the most, especially now with everything that's going on, because, you know, like with every murder you see, they always find something to try to justify. Oh, this guy was a thug, or this person has a picture with his pants sagging, or he's friends with this person who's in jail now. And so, to answer your question, I feel like I probably have to do a lot more, and I probably need to pay attention to it more.
I'll be honest, I think I've actually kind of gotten away from it a lot more. Like, I think at this point now, I'm just more of, I am who I am. You know what I'm saying? Like, even to the point of like what I wear to work. Yeah, I wear my scrubs, but I used to like buy like just like cross trainer shoes. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I'm just put these on because I don't want to just go in there. I don't want to be the guy going there with J's on. They be looking, oh, look at it. But now I'll throw on a pair of ones and go to work. Like, I'm just me at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm me. I'm Black. I embrace my Blackness. Like, even to the fact the hair, all. I'm just like, you know what? This is what you get. As far as how I talk, yeah, I try to keep it professional, but at the same time, if it's like, man, y'all tripping, I'm gonna tell you, man, y'all tripping. Like, it's none of that. Well, you know, I think we should. I'm not doing it anymore. Like, you gonna get me for who I am, and it's not affecting my job performance. My job performance is still good. So at this point, I feel like I need to be authentically me. You know what I'm saying? Especially with everything going on right now in the world, like the pressures we have, like it's a lot. Like you said, we all said earlier, we were exhausted. So at this point, it's like, I'm me. What you see is what you get. Do I be unprofessional? No. But at the same time, I'm still gonna be me, like just down to the core at this point.
Straight up. And I can kind of piggyback and, man, really take the same thing that Smoot said right there, as far as, you know, kind of shying away from doing that. Like I said, man, I've been working in this insurance role and been selling insurance now for 6 years. So, you know, from when I first started to where I feel like I had to try to sound a certain way to be able to get through the people. But now, man, it's more to the point. I've been there for 6 years. I kind of meet people where they at. They gonna get me, you know what I mean? If they got, you know, they need to hear something, I'm gonna shoot it to them straight. And like I said, I'm not gonna sugarcoat nothing. And like Smooth said, I'm not gonna be unprofessional, but I'm not gonna be fake either. You know, so like, you know, I'm gonna just, you know, just give it to you exactly how it is and how it should be. And that's just me just being me. So, you know, I mean, anybody calls or, you know, have any, you know, concerns, whatever the case may be, you know, when something is going on, I'm not going to, you know, be trying to go out my way to sound like somebody I'm not. That's all I'm saying.
Like the kind of, I don't mean to cut nobody else off, but I do telehealth. So I do video calls all day long. This is me, like on video calls all day on the computer. And I used to answer the phone like, hey, you know, what's going on, Mr. Such and Such? How you doing? Now when we get in there, if they in a good mood, what's up, man? What's going on? Like, we like just being just authentic. And you know what? People really like when people can tell you being authentically you authentically happy. People they can pick up on it. You know what I'm saying? They know it, and that makes them more comfortable. They become more authentic to them. Do all of them appreciate it? No, because like I said, I'm in Texas, bro. I'm in Houston, and we cover Houston. They covers a lot of East Texas, West Louisiana. You know what I'm saying? So I get guys that kind of look at me a little weird sometimes, like. But after 2 or 3 sessions, they like, you know what? I appreciate you for being who you are. No, we don't agree on everything as far as views, but this is me. This is who you get. I'm gonna give you everything I got. You give me everything you got.
Yes, Smooth. I'm on the same boat as you as far as like with starting off, man. I ain't gonna lie, I code switch hard. Like, hey, going into the corporate world. I mean, that was my first time stepping out in there. Hey, you know, I cut the voice on and everything. But I mean, I learned real quick. I mean, one of my coworkers, she's down to earth, African American woman, and she was my like my cube mate starting off. And I just listened to her how she talked to the agents and things like that. And I was like, man, you being real. You ain't trying to put on. I was like, well, she's told me you ain't got to put on as long as you're being authentic. They'll take it well, and as long as you and they can tell that. I mean, it'll go over well, whatever. If it's bad news, good news. As long as you're you, they'll listen to you at least. So I mean, for the past 3-4 years, I mean, I've just been going in being me. Got my numbers up. I mean, head of the team on everything. I mean, it shows when you're authentic rather than trying to switch up to be someone that you're not. So I mean, for me, yeah, code switching. I mean, I tried it, but just couldn't do it.
For me, it's a little different for me. Just depending on what capacity I'm in, and let me go back. Depending on what capacity I was in when I first started coaching. If I'm in an interview with the superintendent, with the principal, yeah, of course, I'm gonna code switch. I'm gonna talk as proper as you need me to talk. I'm gonna say whatever you need me to say so I can get this job. But now, 7 years later, some of y'all from East Texas. The ones that are not, East Texas is very small. And I think I've been very successful as a coach here. So now everybody in the East Texas area, they know me. So I don't have to code switch anymore. They know what they're going to get when I'm on the field, when I'm on the court, in the classroom, in the community. They know what they're going to get. So I'm just as authentic as I can be. On the other flip end of that, with the kids, it's always this. It's always me. I'm like, I'm not going to curse, try not to curse around them, but I'm not going to be proper. I'm going to be me. And what I've come to figure out is, of course, you're going to build those relationships with the Black kids because, okay, they can relate to this. They can relate to how you're talking. This is what they hear. But one thing I figured out, the white kids, they really enjoy you being straight up and you being you with them because they understand, like I think it was Smoot said, they understand when you're being real. And as long as you're not being fake with a man and you're building relationships that are true and genuine, that's the main thing. So back to the original question, and now this is me. This is what you're going to get 24/7, social media, in person. Coach Cloudy is who Coach Cloudy is.
See, hey, Coach Cloudy, man, the problem I have at work, man, so like I said, I probably have like 60 drivers, and the thing that I struggle with the most is like my drivers. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut anyone off, but it's the Black drivers, man. They try to take advantage of you. They come out the house late. They run lows late, and to the point where I let them get away with it for like months and months at a time, the Black drivers. And to the point where they knew, like, oh, he's a Black guy. He's taking care of me. He's just being nice or whatever. We can do whatever we want. And so that's why I said earlier, like, I don't code switch with them. Like, I keep it real. And it's to the point to where I could have a conversation like this with them. But when it's time to, like, when I have to discipline them, it's so much harder for me because I'm like, I'm trying to take care of you. Like, these people will fire you in a heartbeat and just go get another driver. And it's so hard for me to let them know that because I'm sitting in the office surrounded with 50 white people. So I always try to tell them, hey, man, they're going to fire me before they fire anyone else in here. So please, I'm trying to take care of you, take care of me. And but that's something I'm really struggling with. I can't get it across to our guys, even just being me or being real, when I'm just being myself. But if I hit like one of our own drivers or one of our own people with like a code switch or whatever, let them know, like, hey man, I have to do this. Now you done took it to the point where I have to bring people involved, or my boss involved, his boss, to the point where we got to get you out of here, which I absolutely hate. But that's something that I am struggling with every single week is with our guys, because they're taking advantage of me because they know I'm a Black guy.
We deal with the same thing, man. Black kids, they give us some of the most trouble. But for me, I have the luxury, like you said, you're sitting in the office surrounded by white people. And you really can't say what you want to say. I have the luxury. I can pull this kid aside. Hey, man, get your butt over here. And I might use another word sometimes. Hey, man, if you don't straighten your butt up, then I'm right now, I'm trying to help you. But if you don't straighten up, then, hey, boss man is going to have to come in and intervene. Then it's going to be some issues. So, I mean, I have the luxury, like I said, of just being able to pull them aside and talk to them one-on-one. But I still don't have to code switch in that situation, you know. That's tough, brother.
Kind of piggyback on what y'all said with like I say like the black drivers and the black kids. I find I have to do a lot with my black patients, you know what I'm saying? And like I'm in a, like right now I was in an office with somebody else and they're not white, but they're also not black, you know, if y'all catch me. So like, and I'm in a program where I got to produce numbers. Like I got to get people in there, you know what I'm saying? I got to get people in, I got to get discharged. I got to show that our program is working. So I'm in that position. And like, I'll find like my black guys, they'll be like, just no showing. I'm like, bro, I got to no show you. Like, what's up? Like I'm calling, emailing, like, you know, like I'll send an email on the day before, like, hey, just remind about our appointment, blah, 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 come up, nothing, you know what I'm saying? Or I'll call them, hey man, did you keep the numbers for me this week? I need your blood pressure, your heart rate, all this, I need all that. No, man, I ain't even do it. And I find myself sometimes, even though I'm probably not supposed to say it, I just like being back to being authentically me. I'm like, man, this man, you trying to get me fired, dog. That's how they gonna get me out of here. Why? Because I don't have the numbers to show. And I expect you know what I'm saying, knowing how tough it is for somebody like me, you know what I'm saying, to at least give me, you know what I'm saying, at least just put forth the effort. Like, take you 10 minutes a morning. That's it. Man, I apologize, man. You're really good at what you do. I can be good at what I do. My numbers ain't good. You can be looking at somebody else in a little bit because they're going to be like ready to be like, well,
exactly. See, that's what my struggle.
Definitely, y'all, some solid points there. And I think for me, myself personally, code switching is been so much of who I had to be that I don't even know, honestly, when I'm code switching, is that the real me or am I code switching back to being quote unquote black, right? So I don't even know at this point because I do it so often. That's very tough, especially what you got.
I was going to say that's taxing.
Man, it's very, very, very. One thing that I was just dealing with really about an hour before we got on this call, and I was talking to a group of kids, black kids actually. I was like, hey man, you know, pull up your pants right quick, man. Why you out here with yourself like that? And the kid awesomely rebutted and said, pulling on my pants, what does that change? Right. And so I'm like, okay. He was like, I'm still the same person who I was with my pants down or my pants up. So, you know, like, what does that change? And so I got into this perception study and talked with the kid. But for you guys, how do you now give advice to another young black man? Like, if you could see yourself as a kid, like, what are you telling yourself, especially growing up in a climate that we in? What are your words to another black
Man, just I heard a few people say it already. Like authentic, like being authentic, like be who you are, be true to yourself, and you know embrace that. You know, don't be ashamed of what statistics say you're gonna be. Don't be ashamed of what people might say about you. Embrace who you are. Learn who you are. Know who you are. I think a lot of our issues stem from like we don't know how great we've been in the past. We don't know what we bring to the table as black men. As leaders. So figure out who you are, know who you are, and excel in that. My dilemma. I heard Ryan talking about this. My dilemma is the black kids at the school. You do come down on them. Then I heard a couple more people mention it. Like you playing like, oh, you on the white man side. Like you with them. And I'm like, no, number one, like I got into this to advocate for you. Like that's my purpose. You know, number two, I'm with what's right. You know, I'm about doing stuff the right way. I'm about integrity. So if you're right, I'm with you. If you're wrong, I'm against you, and I'm gonna call you out on it. So just letting them know where you stand. You know, it's all about communication. Like, hey, this is who I am. This is what I'm about. And like, if you with that, then all right, let's get busy. You know, let's work toward a goal. And you know, just so it's just education, man. Educate yourself. Don't fit into a narrative. Don't go into the box that they want to box you up in. Like, be you, grow, develop, and you know, show people this is what I'm capable of. Because you know, the numbers say our young black men are going to end up in prison. You know, our young black ladies are going to be unemployed. Our black families won't be together. You know, so I want to prove people wrong. You know, that's why I wanted to be a good student. That's why I was a scholar athlete in college. And, you know, that's why I sit at the front. You know, all the coaches sitting in the back in staff development, I'm up in the front. You know, I'm showing that I'm engaged and I'm trying to learn because I want to separate myself from what statistics say I'm going to be or what narrative I'm supposed to fit in. So, you know, just being authentic, being yourself, being real, and never forgetting
I think what I would tell my younger self is if you got something to say it. Like, don't dim your light. Like, back at 14, 15, 16, speak up. And like, I saw a quote, I can't remember if it was from Michelle Obama. Now it's like, but if you're not going to use your voice at the table, then get up from the table. So, but at the same time, as a young black man, if you're at the table and you get up from the table, it ain't so easy to get back. So you might as well speak up while you're there. You know what I'm saying? Just be you. Like, don't let them try to stereotype you to how you should look. Don't do this. Don't do that. Don't grow your hair and dreads. You know that people have stereotypes about dreads. Don't, you know what I'm saying? One of the prime examples on the phone, one of the smartest gentlemen I know, like in my life, Jay Small, rock his dreads. You know what I'm saying? I know one of my other homeboys from Natchez back in high school always sagged his pants. He would legit sag his pants like 3 inches, like, and teachers were like, why you sag your pants 3 inches? Like, my GPA is well over 4. Like, I'm an honest class. Like, he was like, that don't define who I am. He was like, this is me. Don't define me mentally. You know what I'm saying? Like, just don't let them tell you you're supposed to look a certain way, you're supposed to act a certain type of way. Another thing, like, I know it's kind of hard to tell young kids, but your mental health is big. Like, if you got questions, you got something you want to talk about, find somebody, find a mentor. Like, that's my bit. Find a mentor. Even at 30 right now, I wish I would have found me a mentor early. You know what I'm saying? It could be something. It don't have to be nobody 30. It could be somebody 21. You know what I'm saying? They're on the right path. They might be in college, but you're trying to get to where they're trying to go. If you're going to find a mentor, find somebody that's been where you're trying to go or headed that way that can kind of guide you along the path. Ask questions, because a lot of times, I know I made dumb decisions because I didn't ask questions when I was younger. Like, I just kind of was like, well, I think I got it, so I'm gonna just try this. When you got people that have already been there, people already done that, people already kind of been in a situation that you can avoid bumping your head. You know what I'm saying? Because you avoid that setback, you go that much further forward. So that's me. That's what I would tell kids.
Lino kind of he hit a lot of what I was gonna say, but I feel like it has to do a lot with education and go ahead and teaching them ways around stuff. I don't think we should I know, like, I was brought up, we were like Jeremy said earlier, when we passed police, not to look back. I don't feel like we should let them know stuff like that, but I don't feel like we should keep teaching them that, because that's just going to keep getting recycled and recycled and recycled, and we're going to stay in the same place that we in. Because I feel like a lot of this stuff that we do as black men or black people is a learned behavior. Because I had a talk with one of my coworkers one day. He was like, "Why do they call the hood the projects or stuff like that?" Okay, well, I had to explain to him that it's the white people came up with that because it's a project for them. So in turn, we call it the projects. Or I had to explain to them a whole bunch of stuff about black men that we're taught, passed down to us. And I feel like if we want stuff to change, we can teach them that, but we also have to teach them something other than that. Because everything that, like, we do as black men right now, is cycle behavior. I still do stuff right now that my mother and father and grandmother taught me is just recycle. But if we teach them how to be better black men, like this is what you should, this is what will happen. You do this or such stuff like that. We have to feel like uplift them and start a different trend of recycle behavior or recycle mental, you know?
Man, a lot of good points. What I was gonna say, and this is gonna kind of take it a little bit of from what everybody said. I would say not necessarily being a role model, because I mean, all of us in here have probably done stuff that we wouldn't want nobody else to do or follow the the type of role that we've been. But I would say it's more so about setting a good example, and that could be on the lines of a number of things. Because like I said, pretty much everybody in here, from what it sounds like, has been to school, secondary, and they got some type of degree of some sort. So right there, we're setting a good example, by going to school, expanding our minds, and so and when I say setting a good example, man, like I said, that could be on the line of a number of things. Like I said, we got guys in here that's coaches, so we got guys in here that sit in other professional settings. So I would just say, man, just setting a good example and showing the youth that, hey, man, there is a lot more that you can be doing than what you see some of the other people doing. Because I tell young cats I see all the time, I say, man, I see guys that were my homeboys growing up, they don't look like themselves. And I'm pretty sure you guys got partners, the same way as well. They went down that wrong road. So, if we wanted to, we could show the youth, hey, that's an example of kind of what not to do. But at the same token, I don't want to be pushing my fellow man down, but trying to find some way to uplift him, bro. It's a mixed bag, man. And like I say, man, my head is in so many different places about what we can do to better us and everything, bro. I really don't know, fam.
And yeah, piggybacking off of what Nico said, man, as far as like with that, I mean, and what was Marlon, you got to know yourself, but also, I mean, the big thing about it is availability to the kids. Because, I mean, everybody isn't a public speaker. Everybody can't go to the kids and know how to specifically talk to them. But if you show them through your actions, upstanding young man, going to school, getting a degree, getting a good job, staying out of the drugs. I mean, there's other ways than just going out and speaking to them, but you got to just know your role, know yourself, and then those actions will speak for themselves, also going back to being authentic. So, I mean, that's where I find myself mainly because, I'm not, like I said earlier, I mean, I'm not more of the outspoken type, but I have been more recently. But through my actions, that's where I show, hey, how I get back to the kids, not necessarily as far as like with public speaking, but just going to the kids at the church, Boys and Girls Club, wherever I can meet them, just show them through, hey, this is how I grew up. This is how I made it to where I'm at. That's how I show through actions rather than just, it's like Nico said, there's many other avenues than just one specific way. So that's what I mean. That's how I see we can uplift our young kids nowadays.
And I heard a couple people speak on the sag and your pants, and I'm 100% with. Let's not judge by what we see. But unfortunately, I know Ryan, I know Jay Small, I know AC, but this is my first time seeing y'all other three brothers, and that's how the world sees us. That's what we get when we're seen in public. So that's my, I guess, rallying cry, or that's my advice when I talk to them about your pants sagging and how you present yourself, because you only get one chance to make a first impression on somebody, and they can't tell what your GPA is. They don't know how much money you make, or any of that type of stuff. They don't know your character when they first meet you from 50 yards away. So we always in our program, I talk about being presentable and how you look. Dreads, that ain't part of it. People can have dreads and be successful, and dreads don't define you. But if you walk into a building at a job interview sagging, you probably ain't gonna get that job. So that's my view on sagging, and just present yourself in a way where people are gonna listen to you and learn to get to know you.
Yeah, I know I brought up the sagging point as an example, but it's kind of like, I mean, you still gotta have tact as well. You know what I'm saying? It's a time and place for everything. Now, you just out with your boys and that's what you want to do. That's your personal decision. You know what I'm saying? But if you go into a job, don't even wrong, be like, look, now, cuz. Now, it's a difference between hanging out, you know what I'm saying, going to the mall or something, and going to here professional. Like, come on, we gotta get it together. Now, once you walk out of there, I feel it, you know what I'm saying? Do your thing. But before you go through the doors, if you feel comfortable doing that, that's cool. But you still have to be professional. You have to have some tact about yourself. I definitely get you on. I get you on that point for sure. And that's just kind of, backing up what I had said, because I know I brought it up.
Yeah, I understand where you're going too, Smooth. But one thing I figured out, man, traveling wise, I'll be in Vegas, see somebody I know, Miami, LA, see people I know. It's such a small world, man. So the one thing I say to them, like Lino said, first impression is definitely everything. And yeah, of course, you be real. Like you said, Smooth, be authentic, be yourself. But don't put yourself in a situation to where you get even further behind the 8 ball with something as little as sagging your pants, because we already behind it. You know what I'm saying? The next thing I tell them, educate yourself, man, on your own history for sure, because it wasn't until I was grown, and I don't blame my parents. My mom was an educator. She had a lot on her plate, so she taught us how to be studious and things like that. But I didn't know of my own history. Even today, my brother called me, telling me things about my uncles owning these businesses and stuff that we never knew anything about. Educate yourselves on your own history, on Black history, and then when you do that, then you can figure out, okay, what do I want to do? And school is not for everybody. Of course, I'm an advocate for going to college. I went. Most of us on here, I think all of us went. But one thing I figured out, dealing with kids and teaching, it's not for everyone, man. And what they're not teaching these kids in school, these Black kids, about trades. Go find something. You want to be a barber? Don't waste your time going to college. Go to barber school. You want to weld? Man, they out here making a lot of money. You don't have to go to college. You find something that you want to do and you go do that, man. And that's the last thing I tell them is surround yourself with people that you want to be like, because I think it was Smoot earlier. You're talking about asking people questions. Well, if I'm surrounding myself with people that's on the same level and I don't know anything, and I'm surrounding myself with people that don't know anything, who am I going to ask this question to? Who's going to be able to answer my question? So I'll just, and that's one thing I feel like everybody in here obviously did, because we know Jeremy in some kind of way. Y'all know each other, me, Saran, Marlon, we know each other. Just surround yourself with people that are not even, you don't have to say that are doing great things, but are like-minded. Because a lot of people are just so simple-minded and we're from a small town of Center, and some of these people, man, never been out of here. They go to Nacogdoches and they think 30 minutes up the road and they think they in Houston, they think they in Vegas or LA. So, man, surround yourself with somebody that has goals, that has ambition, somebody that you can talk to about things and that can help you out in your future.
I think a big thing that I think kind of sum it up is like build your network, big time, like network, build your network. Because I feel like that's what we've done. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like we all know 6 degrees of separation. We all know Jay Small. You know what I'm saying? And another thing I would tell them is also, if you're not if you are the smartest person in the room, then you might be in the wrong room. Like you need to constantly learn. You know what I'm saying? That's really what I'm trying to get to. Build your network and surround yourself by smarter people that does stuff you haven't done, experience things you haven't experienced. Not necessarily in the classroom setting smart, you know what I'm saying, but life smart, street smart. You can learn something from everybody. Everybody knows something that you don't know. Like there's nothing that you can't. We never stop learning in life. The day you stop learning is the day you start to go downhill.
That's good.
To add on a little bit more, I think young Black men are scared to make themselves uncomfortable by putting themselves in an unfamiliar environment. That's why we also are held back a little bit. Like I'm pretty sure first time Marlon sat in the front of the classroom, he wasn't comfortable but he sat up there because he knew he was headed somewhere. And I feel like we have to encourage them to put themselves in unfamiliar waters or deep water so they can swim out and venture out, like you just said, network and form relationships with people other than ourselves so that we can also evolve.
I know y'all said y'all from small. My fault. Go ahead, Nico.
Oh no, I was just gonna try to just like pretty much kind of go off of kind of what he was saying. As far as, you know, like I say, all of us knowing Smalls and all of us kind of, you know, taking a liking to him, because I'm pretty sure we all kind of see the same thing. He wanted something more out of life, and I think he saw the same thing in us whenever he came to school, met you guys as friends or whatever the case. So all I was just gonna say is, you know, how you guys were saying, you know, be around people with like minds. I would say, you know, man, try to be around people with that same type of drive and hustle as well.
Yeah, I got a question. Like I said, I know I'm not the director of this, but like when I think that was Ryan, that was you that just said like encourage people like young black men to kind of make themselves uncomfortable and put themselves out there a little bit. Do y'all think like it's kind of like in our, I guess I say embedded in our community sometimes, like it's not always I guess I say the cool thing to do, you know what I'm saying? Because I know when I was going to high school, like it wasn't always the cool thing, you know what I'm saying, to go and do this or you know what I'm saying, if you making good grades in school, they, oh man, dude, lame, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. It wasn't always the cool thing. And like that just shows like the environment that we was growing up in, you know what I'm saying? Do y'all think there's something like that? Because I know like one of the biggest things that helped me and when I was uncomfortable, when I went to school in Arkansas, like that was big for me. I ain't gonna lie. Small town Mississippi. It wasn't number 4.5 hours away from home. My mama left me, and she called me like, we back in Mississippi. I'm like, hold on. They ain't down the road no more, so I'm out here now. I gotta grow. First day I met Nico. First day on campus, like, and that forced me to grow because I was in a different environment. I was uncomfortable, so we all had to kind of grow and develop and stuff like that. What y'all think about that? Y'all think that kind of go down into our environments and how we grow up?
I would
I
say,
definitely.
oh my bad, bro. I would say 100% that does, and I'm gonna just keep it a buck. I would say that, man, I was fortunate enough, man, that my mom, you know, kind of put me and my brothers out there, like I say, in different settings as we were growing up. So I'm gonna keep it a buck, man. You know, some of the friends that I had growing up, they didn't all look like me. My mom tried to encourage us to have friends that had other interests in different things. So as me growing up, we playing baseball, soccer, football, you know, Spanish club, any after school programs my mom could think that we would benefit from, whether it be educational or socially, she was putting us in it. So, but on that same token, I can see some of my buddies that didn't, and when we were being sentenced to where there were more white people or more people that didn't look like them, I could see that they were uncomfortable and shit. I would be too, but I would be like, it's gonna be cool because, like I said, I done been in those type of settings before. So, you know, to kind of answer that question as to what you were saying, Smooth, I would say that, yeah, man, like having you know, our kids and people that we know make themselves uncomfortable by not sitting in that same headspace that they're always used to, always having those same type of conversations and always having that same perspective, like we're it's gonna force us to think different. So I'm with you there 1,000%, bro.
One thing that we preach in our program, man, is and tell our kids almost every single day is just get comfortable being uncomfortable. And it's really coming to light these days, man, because I mean, we're having, I think Marlon, somebody mentioned earlier, you're having to have these uncomfortable conversations with your coworkers. And if you hadn't prepared yourself at a younger age, it's very difficult to start doing something now that you're an adult. So, man, just be comfortable being uncomfortable.
I think going on along with that, I think we've made poverty like the norm, right? And so things outside of that, and when we start seeing success in a different light than what we would consider success in the hood, like we're automatically anti that, and that automatically dims your blackness. You're not as black because you're doing things that we don't normally typically do in the hood, right? And so, like personally for me, I don't really know how, but my mom was able to place me in these different settings and I was okay with them. I really always knew that like I was the only black kid doing it, or I was the one out of the projects doing these different things. but it grew this sense of exposure, and I think exposure is mandatory for our success, right? But for instance, me being in Boy Scouts, right? Like I was I was in Boy Scouts, the only little black kid in Boy Scout. I was going to this thing called asthma camp, and all y'all always laugh every time I say that. But like asthma camp was big because it was like completely out of my comfort zone, and it was something that continued to grow me in these different settings because I was exposed again to different people with different opinions and different perspectives in life. But I think just to answer that question, going back to what you said, Snoop, we can't afford to continue to have these same ideas and views from poverty that successful people don't have, right? And so we got to bridge that gap some kind of way.
That's funny.
That asthma count,
Maul
boy.
just talked about, man, he talked about his Boy Scout. As soon as he said Boy Scout, in my mind, I'm like, oh, man, this dude's soft. You know, so it's nature. I definitely think it's nature for us to kind of what we're not comfortable with, we try to ridicule it, or we try to put it into this box of, oh man, that ain't the cool thing to do. Y'all made a lot of good points, and you know I agree with a lot of it. But somebody said something about networks. I think it was Smoot, and I read a lot of financial books, and you know I'm on this money kick. And one thought I constantly think about reading these books is your network is your network. You know, so I'm looking at a couple of insurance people on here. I'm like, hey man, I might have some ends on, you know, getting my coverage decreased or my premiums decreased, and you know, all because you know somebody took the time to connect 9 people that he had a relationship with. You know, somebody might benefit off of that. But AC talked about being comfortable, and a quote came to my mind is, you know, nothing great ever happens from a place of comfort. Like you cannot, you know, break through that glass ceiling if you're gonna sit in the chair all day. No, you got to climb the ladder. You know, you got to put in the work. You got to, you know, put your jetpack on, whatever it is, to get up there to the ceiling to break it. And you know, so you know, we've got to teach our kids to do uncomfortable things. Right? You can do things that your ancestor didn't do, or your brother won't even do, or your cousin won't do. And you know, they've got to hear that. One thing we say in our program all the time is, when's the last time you've done something for the first time? And that's just, and I ask my coaches that, like, how can we model guys stepping outside their comfort zone and we won't learn a new trade, or, you know, we won't have conversations that we don't feel comfortable having, or we won't sit at the front of a classroom, you know, during staff development. So it's all about, you know, I think we got to model, and let people know, yeah, I screwed up. You know, I had a .35 GPA in college one semester. I've made mistakes. Yeah, so yeah, it can happen, and then you can still be successful after you've made the mistake. You know, a smart man learns from his own mistakes, but a wise man learns from somebody else's mistakes. You know, so you got to put yourself in those situations to where, okay, I did fail, I'm gonna get better from it. Or I saw this guy fail, and I saw it because he's in my network and I'm friends with him and he's a daredevil, so I won't make that same mistake. So I think it's merging all that together.
Like Smoot just did, feel free at any time if you got an idea or something that you want to discuss, throw that out there. This is dialogue. This ain't necessarily just me asking all the questions. So I appreciate that, Smoot. Good one. For us in the Black community, how do we heal from this? Like, what's next? What makes us take the next step? What's going to get us out of this current state that we in? What's going to build our community so that these things aren't reoccurring?
I'm gonna be the first one to say it because mine gonna be real short. With the way things are at this point, I don't know. Like, I'll be honest, I'm the first to say I don't have the answer. Like, I mean, I don't, because think about it, we're at a time that's so complex right now. And it's so, and at the same time, think about it, it's really still kind of sensitive too. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything is just so intertwined at this moment. I don't have the answer at all.
Do we even want to though? I mean, like multiple people in this forum right here just said, before all these events started taking place, we were fine just sitting back, hiding in the shadows. And we're successful young black men. And like more people are coming and speaking forth and coming to the forefront and coming to fight this battle. So do we want this to go away?
I don't think we wanted to go. Go ahead, Nick.
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead. I'll go after you.
That kind of brings up. I mean, and like I said, I don't want to deviate from the original question, but me and Small had a talk. What was that? Yesterday we talked, and it was about, like, I know Coach Cloud has said, like, do we want this to go away? Me and Small kind of talked about a few of the NBA guys talking about they don't want to play because they gonna overshadow, you know what I'm saying, the message. But then you got some saying, no, I want to play because I can still let my voice be heard. You know what I'm saying? So I don't, like I say, well, back to my original point, I don't know. Like, what y'all think about that? I mean, not to get away from the original point, but do y'all think that'll kind of overshadow? Do you think right now we just need to kind of focus on what's going on right now? Or do we need that relief? I will personally say, I told Small personally that I felt like if anything came back at this moment, it needed to be the NBA, not the NFL, not baseball, but the NBA. Why? Because the NBA is a players-ran league. It's a players' league. Look, if LeBron say I'm playing, I don't care what anybody get on Twitter and say. If LeBron James say I want to play, guess what the NBA gonna do? They're gonna tip their ball off. Why? Because that's LeBron James. If LeBron James got something to say, he's gonna say it. He's always spoken out about social issues. He's always done his thing. So I feel like if anybody has to come back, it had, like, and not, I guess I say, overshadow what's going on in the country, it'll be the NBA, because their voices, they're allowed to speak what they feel.
I can agree with that about the NBA, because I feel like the NBA is 100% black. I remember when the Clippers owner came out and said that they had the niggas at the game. First thing they did was get all black jerseys. First thing they did. So I can agree with. At first I didn't, but I can agree with that statement. The NBA will be a good one. I feel like they'll push it forward a little bit more. They'll do something special.
I'm personally torn, man, because Smooth, you just said it. It'll just kind of go back to the norm, you know, and of course we'll all relax and watch basketball. But back to the original point, do we want to relax right now? You know what I'm saying? People are sensitive, people are heated, people are fired up, and rightfully so. And yes, we want to watch basketball. I mean, of course, I want to watch LeBron. I want to watch KD. I want to watch these guys go to battle. But is that going to take my attention off of what's really happening? You know, off of the social injustice that we as black men are going through every single day that we wake up. But back to what Saran said, if anybody can do it, it's the NBA. And we've seen it time and time again. They've worn the T-shirts. They've had interviews and voiced their opinions. But to contradict that, I think white people can hide if the NBA is going on. You know, the NBA is going to take over Twitter. The NBA is going to take over Facebook. The NBA is going to be everything. Okay, I don't have to tweet about black or white. I don't have to tweet about Blue Lives Matter or Black Lives Matter. I can just make this tweet about the NBA game that just got played. I can just talk about LeBron, and I'm talking about a black person. I'm not racist, you know. So I'm just torn, man. I really, truly am. I'm glad y'all brought this up too, because I wanted to have this conversation.
Yeah, and I mean, go ahead.
No, bro. I was just gonna say, I'm kind of torn about the NBA and all that, and you know, that starting back. Like I said, that's kind of another thing. But I'm gonna kind of go back to what you guys were asking. You know, like, you know, do we really want it to end or whatever the case? I would honestly say that everybody in here, we can ask that question to, and we'd all have the exact same answer that we do want to see some change. And I think, honestly, all of the stuff that's going on right now, it's making people who aren't people of color, some of them is making them uncomfortable, as we are on a regular. So it's almost to the point like this is the thing. We can go back, probably 15 years, and we can find a unjustified killing each year that people could have rioted about. I just think it done got to the point, man, that it's kind of like it's a rug, bro, and just been sweeping bodies under that rug for so long, the hump done got too big. Now it's time to look underneath it, and everybody's like, I'm tired of this. So I mean, everybody wanted to end. I don't know what we're gonna do as far as if everybody's gonna go out and vote, if that is the one thing that's gonna make it happen, or if it's gonna be reform individually throughout states, or if it's gonna be a national reform that's gonna go through federally. Who knows? Like, I know one thing. We all want something to happen, and we can all agree to that. But getting there, I mean, I guess that's kind of what we all trying to figure out.
Yeah, I agree with you what you're saying as far as like with that, Nico. Is as far as like with moving to the next step, we have to come to an agreement on what that next step is. Because I mean, if you have people pulling at different places, that might not end up on the same page as what the collective would want. But as far as like with bringing back the NBA and things of that nature, the way that I see it is that the way that our society is right now, as far as it with social media, the attention span of the millennials and what we have, you put something out there, that gonna draw it away real quick. So I mean, where we're at now with Corona coming into play, everybody's at home, they watching the news, they seeing what's going on. I think everything just built up to this point to where we're supposed to be at. So I think, I mean, yeah, people miss the sports. People have things that they want to go out and do, want to go out to the bars and clubs, things to open up. But where we're at now, it makes us focus on, hey, this is what's happening in our world. We have to take a look at it. We have to do something about it. So I think, yeah, I don't necessarily know what that next step is, but I think we're at a good point to where everybody's on the same page that something does need to happen. So, yeah, I'm with Smooth. I don't know what we need to do, but something does have to happen, and it's good that we're all, people of all races, are focusing in on this one specific issue.
Mac, I want you to pose that question again, just so I make sure I'm answering it right, because I want to hit both of these questions, about the NBA being a distraction, and then also moving from where we at right now.
Yeah, so essentially that was the question. How do we move from this current climate into putting a successful life, right? And then spinning off of that, the NBA move there.
Okay, Peyton, he hit it right on the head. We've got to have a centralized idea of where we want to go. Like it's going to do us no good for one group to be going over here talking about poverty and another group to be going over here talking about police brutality, and then these guys over here talking about racism. Like it needs to be, I think it's an opportunity. And I think I saw this posted somewhere, opportunity and unity was all caps. So it's a great opportunity, but if we're not all together and we're not united and it's not one voice pulling for one thing, then it's going to get lost in the shuffle. And it can be the NBA, it can be the MLB, it can be NFL, it can be the NHL for all I care. If we're not united, whatever is next is going to take everybody's attention. So I think, this is a great opportunity. And I was going to say this earlier when you asked about where's our mindset. And of course, we're all tired. Of course, a lot of us are scared. We look at these incidents and it can be any one of us seven. Unfortunately, even though we're educated and we do the right thing, but, one thing that I thought while I was hearing us all talk was, I feel empowered. You know, and I feel like for such a time as this, I'm where I'm at right now. And all of us are where we're supposed to be at. Ryan, you might be in the most difficult position out of all of us, you know, being in the jail. But you know, I've had conversations with people about some things that I've seen the past 3 years that I didn't think I would ever have while I was here to come right here D. And you know, based on this one incident, it's given me a door, you know, a path to sit at these tables and have these conversations. You know, on tomorrow, there's going to be a group of 10 of us sitting down with our superintendent and, you know, talking about what can a district do to change. And, you know, I think right now, more than anything, everybody's on pins and needles, and I'm not talking about us. Like, everybody's on pins and needles because they don't want to make the wrong move. And we have a chance to be a voice and, you know, create change. But like I said, if it's 10 people in the room, then us 9 that's asking for some change, we need to be united on, you know, what we're asking for. With the NBA, I treat the NBA like I treat Nike. You know, I love Nike and I love the NBA because both of those organizations are you know, for the cause. You know, I really believe that when I see Adidas or, you know, all these companies, Black Lives Matter, Amazon, I turned on Amazon the other day. We stand with the Black community. I haven't seen it, so I just think it's noise. You know, I just think it's an attention grab. You know, but I look at, you know, Nike and I go all the way to, you know, with the cap situation. You know, with the Trayvon Martin situation. I can't believe they give, like Ryan said, it's a players' league, you know, and they give their employees the platform to use it to make change, unlike NFL and all these other situations. So I wouldn't be as against the NBA coming back because I know they're going to continue to carry the torch.
You said something real good right then, man. You said we feel empowered, and we do. But going back to what Nick said, man, it really got me thinking. Like, why do we feel empowered? Because the other side is uncomfortable, and we're talking about change, and we're talking about wanting change to happen. That's when change happens. If people are comfortable, why would I change something? I'm fine. I'm good where I'm at. I'm good in my situation, my penthouse. I'm the top 1%. Why do I need to change? But when people get uncomfortable, that's when change starts to come, man. And that's why we are feeling empowered. I like that, Nick. That was on my mind, man.
Appreciate that, fam.
I agree with that one for sure. We definitely feel empowered at this point. Did y'all see the video of the, I don't know if it's in New York or not, the policeman like going on his rant, and they was like, and I saw somebody comment was like, so they mad because they being treated how they've been treating Black people for years, and like y'all can't even stand this for 2 weeks, and like we've been going through this for hundreds of years. You know what I'm saying? Like that's.
The man said they was being treated like thugs. We're not thugs. I mean, come on, man. You're taking. He really took our message and tried to flip it around and get sympathy for the officers.
Right. And think about this, and we all are pretty in tune to what's going on in America. We know that kind of today, thugs is now the new acceptable N-word. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Definitely.
Yeah, ain't that what Phil Jackson called LeBron and his posse?
Posse, huh?
Yeah, the posse. Right.
I think we are moving in a direction and that's going to bring some type of change. But like you guys saying, like Peyton was saying, we got to be ready for what that next change is. I mean, if we look at a historical glance, guys, every revolution that we've had, there are times of bright spots, and then something comes to dim it. We go back to the Civil War, right? Then we get the Reconstruction period where Black people were thriving. And then all that was snatched from under them. We go to the civil rights movement in the 60s. Right after that, black people was thriving. Boom, we got crack and got the war on drugs and war on poverty and all these other things. And so now we're here again, and we're going to break through. Something's going to happen, but we have to be on the lookout for what that next snag is. What's going to be the next snag to grab us? So we got to be real attentive. So let me ask you guys this, and I want to know what this word means to you guys. What is reparations going to mean for you?
I think it's giving credit. Like don't. Me and my wife, we talk about this all the time. Well, I say all the time. This past couple of weeks, don't discredit our history. You know, that's my biggest thing. Don't discredit the great things that we've done to, you know, unwillingly, of course, if we talk to our ancestors, but, you know, we made this country great. Like we put this country on its 2 feet, you know, on our backs, and, you know, what we did as a black people. So, you know, when you tell our story of slavery, like don't just make it to where it was like, okay, you know, black people work for us, and, you know, this is them. Like, no, I want you to let people know that without us, like we wouldn't be where we at as a country. So I guess just giving credit and acknowledging us and letting people know our greatness, and not putting us into this little box.
Does anybody think reparations can help us out, like in the actual form of money? Like let's have that discussion.
Of course, I would say anybody, and I was almost about to say gifted. You know, in this case, that wouldn't be it. This would be something that would be owed. I would say it like this. All of us in here, I'm pretty sure, you know, we're trying to do our best, you know, and learn as much as you can and be as financial literate as we can. So I would just, you know, just looking at the group of people who are in here, I guarantee that every last one of us could benefit, whether it not be either something that's being added to what we already have, or if we're trying to do something and get to a spot, that will for sure be a jump start to get to where we need to be. Because this is the thing, bro. Like with something like that you would, you know, essentially get, I mean, it wouldn't necessarily be for you. I mean, you would be essentially setting up something that would be leaving your legacy. So you taking care of your great grandkids off of monies that, you know, we will be getting that weren't essentially, you know, expecting to get.
That's why we won't get it. They know that as well.
That was gonna be my next question. Do y'all think we will actually ever get reparations? You know what I'm saying? Me personally, I don't. You know, me personally, but
probably not in the form of actual monetary funds. Like it's gonna be, and this is just me talking. I think it'll be something else. That's something else. I don't know. It won't be land either.
I don't think we'll ever get it, because then they would actually have to admit that, like, what slavery was and all that type of stuff. Because we still got some white people that don't think slavery happened. I got matter of fact, I got a coworker. Well, I'm not in the Air Force no more, but she tried to explain to me that slavery wasn't real. That black people was volunteering to go pick cotton and et cetera, et cetera. Like it's something they would have to admit that something was done.
Bro, you shouldn't have to argue. I would just say off of that it's documented, and you can find plenty enough, you know, cited and things that, you know, with sources behind them. Like, you know, if anyone felt that way, you know what I mean, just throw a book at them. That's how I feel at it.
But the thing about that is the book that probably was thrown at her was probably the book that she was reading in elementary school. Indentured servants, they were paying them. So, I mean, that's a place that she probably got that from. So,
matter of fact, that's a good point. Oh, my bad.
Oh, good.
Because at one point in our conversation, she was like, they even let some of them stay in the house.
House nigga.
I was like, come on,
and that's something that needs to change as well. I mean, we have a few educators on here. We have, I mean, something, the literacy, what we're teaching has to change. And that's another reason, like I said, I don't blame my parents, but I didn't learn a lot about my history at home, and I definitely wasn't learning at school. So where are you going to learn it?
I think one thing is, though, recently, though, with the technology that we have, a lot of kids have more access to stuff than when we had them when we were at their age. So yeah, the internet is out there, and I mean, they're being taught how to research things. So I mean, if they can find credible resources, they can learn. But like, once again, though, they have to be taught in their homes too. So it's something that they most likely will have to be pushed towards. Hey, this is your actual history. I know, like you said, like my parents, they really didn't teach me, and my mom was a teacher, but she really didn't teach me the specifics on slavery and things of that nature, and my ancestry and things like that. So I mean, yeah, I mean, it's a lot of self-learning, but if you can get that good education from your elders and things of that nature, yeah, that'll get you on the right foot on what your history is and what you would need to know.
Along the lines with that, though, guys, we have to realize that our faith in the system to teach what's correct our faith shouldn't lie there, right? The specifics to all our standardized testing, those aren't tested questions intentionally, right? Specifically for the state of Texas, about a month or 2 months, I think, Texas approved the African American Studies course, right? And so now, as an elective class, and this can be offered on your campus. Again, it's an elective. It's an opportunity, but you gotta send it to your school board and have them approve that they can teach this course. Now, I went through the course. I looked at all the objectives on it, and it's deep and it's legit. So if this could be something that's on campuses and moves from an elective to mandatory, right? Now we're really gonna be cooking with some high grease, because there's some things in there that really push the envelope. For me, now let me go back to the original question. We were talking about reparations. I think is very needed, and I know, Nico, you are not optimistic about the money or land, but as you also stated, like, this is the thing that's going to create generational wealth. This is the thing that it created the equity gap, the opportunity gap, the debt gap, the educational gap. It literally stems from our lack of money or lack of resources, right? So we have to arrange ourselves at these seats and at these tables to have this conversation of, look, this is what we need. We all can talk about equality versus equity, right? And I think that's the conversation that needs to be had. Equality needs to be erased until we can reach equity. And once we reach equity, now we can talk about equality, because the system is imbalanced. It's an imbalance here, and equality is not going to mean the same thing as equity. But I'm just interested to hear what else y'all got to say.
It's this thing called I don't know if y'all heard of it, the 10th man principle. If 9 people agree on something, then it's up to the 10th man to disagree. So I'm gonna be that 10th man right now. I don't see reparations creating the change that we need for our community. And just entertain me for a minute. First of all, do I think we're gonna get them? No, because just like you said, that's going to mean that they got to admit that we did a lot for this country. That's going to mean that they have to admit that they were wrong in the treatment of Black people in the slave trade and all of that. And shoot, judges won't even turn over convictions where they know it's wrong a lot of times, because they feel like, I didn't make that mistake, so I'm not going to admit I was wrong. So I don't see a whole country doing that. That's built on the way our country was built. We have to prepare our community, and we are 7. Now, if you give us 7 reparations, I'm pretty sure that we can do a lot for our family and for our legacy. But if you give everybody in our community reparations, then are we going to support Black businesses? Are we going to invest in our kids' futures? or are we going to go out and buy J's, buy TVs, buy the latest and greatest, and give it right back to the people that gave it to us? Like that's why I'm not big on the whole, I got a $1,200 stimulus check. I know where my check went, but for the majority of our community, like I'm not counting nobody's pockets, but I'm afraid that $1,200 got wasted, and it was gone in a month. Look at tax income, income checks. How fast are those going, and how quick are those cars repoed, or that wash and dry repoed, or that big flat screen TV repoed? With the amount of money that we get back just off refund checks, our communities could be doing a lot in their own sections. And I'm sorry, but I don't think the quarters done got a lot better in the last 20 years. And the quarters is where we were born and raised at. But I don't see it happening without a strong foundation of education and financial literacy, and teaching the value of passing stuff down to the future generations, and supporting our own community. Like don't go support them people that don't care if you live or die. So that's my take on it.
So you don't think those things can happen almost simultaneously? I think the lack of knowing what to do with money comes from the fact that you hadn't had it, right? And so once you get it, you're just ready to start going crazy because you have all these materialistic things that you wanted to obtain. You don't think that we could have a happy medium of once you obtain X amount of money? For instance, Bob Johnson released his reparation plan, the old owner of BET, where he was, I think the number that he came up with is like $347,000, right? For every slave, African descendant of the slave trade. You don't think like $347,000 could help alleviate some issues there?
I think it can, but like that's what you're going back to. We're talking to me, we're talking to Nico, we're talking to Smoot, we're talking to Ryan. But as a entire Black community, like I'm afraid that like we got to be educated. My uncle, we were talking earlier, and it was like I was like, man, I hate watching, slavery type movies. I hate watching racism type movies. Because back in school, like it made me angry in a school full of white people. And, so I told him, like, it's no good way to have a bad conversation. So when we talk about slavery, it hurts. It's tough. But I feel like I'm mature enough now, and I've learned how to deal with emotions better now, so I can deal with that, me personally. And he had a good point. He was like, well, we can't even get to self-esteem before we get to race esteem. So like they need to be proud to be Black. Like we need to be proud to know our heritage and all the great things we did. You asked my opinion, and I really don't think so, man. As a whole, I think it's going to cause confusion. It's going to cause bickering. It's going to cause some separation because, well, I spent all mine in a year, but you still got yours. So let me get some of that. And it's like, no, man, you should have cultivated and put it in this pool with the rest of us. So no, you're on your own now. We just need to be educated with it. I think we need to educate before we get to that point.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say this. I'm just thinking about kind of what you're saying, and this kind of backtracks to something that we were kind of talking about earlier. Something that I said. A lot of people think like when people get that money, probably maybe a big majority of it may go out and they may blow their cash. But think about it like this: if this is years down the line, if people are doing a good job at setting an example that Black people can have money outside of playing sports or being an entertainer. I was talking to one of my buddies the other day. He stays out in Dallas. He said, and like I said, you guys stay out there. He was talking about Cedar Hills. He was like, man, I ride through Cedar Hills, bro. He said, I don't see nothing but sisters and brothers out there. All type of big Benzes, He said he seen Ferraris. He was like, that right there, he said, really opened my eyes to like, bro, you don't gotta, be out here doing everything else to get some money, because like I said, you see right there, those are a big community of Black people that are all type of professionals that, they make their money a different, different types of ways and are managing it well from what we can see anyway. So, I would say that, it all goes back to kind of what Smoot said. If you got somebody in your network that say, hey man, we got this investment right here going on. I know you just got your money. Come over here, put 50,000 in here, man. Let's make that money, make some money for you. So I would say this. I'm not very optimistic that people will actually get something, but if we do, I am optimistic that people can allocate those funds in the right way to better themselves and also better the lives of of their loved ones on down the line.
Honestly, I don't think we're really giving ourselves enough credit right now. That makes sense. I feel like we've gotten over the years, especially our generation, because I'll be the first to say, like, my parents, they were not the most, financially literate. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have some principles of finance that I don't have. I feel like our generation now, we're starting to break that mold and kind of break that cycle, and we're starting to, like, educate ourselves more on finances. So I kind of feel like we should give ourselves a little bit more credit, because we see a lot more homeowners, you know what I'm saying? We see a lot more people buying land. I see a lot more people my age investing in stocks, getting stocks, you know what I'm saying? Like learning about life insurance policies, how to put their cash in life insurance policies, things like that. I see a lot more people that look like me starting to learn and do stuff like that. So I feel like we might need to give ourselves, my fault, I got a phone call. Okay. We might need to give ourselves a little bit more credit than, you know what I'm saying? Because think about it. Yeah, if some go and whatever, blow it off, because think about it, we ain't the only ones that do that either, you know what I'm saying? But if some go and blow it off, but then you got this group of people that say, like, you know what, we gonna invest ours in this neighborhood over here. So what we gonna do is we gonna buy the block up and we gonna get houses and we gonna let our people buy these houses. You know what I'm saying? If they don't buy it, they rent, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so we take the money from that. Now we gonna go and buy this land over here and we gonna put a mall over here. Next thing you know, we starting to build a community in our mall. We gonna let Black-owned businesses, you know what I'm saying, rent out our mall. We gonna be like, hey y'all, you know what I'm saying, here's an opportunity in our community. I think it's possible. I think our generation, like millennials, I think we are starting to break the mold. I think we will be the generation, if it does, I think it will, because I definitely don't think it will. But if we got that money, I feel like we would be like the ones to kickstart it up and get it going.
That's what I was just about to say. I see what all three of y'all are saying. I'm on the fence a little bit. I don't feel like we need to get them right. They'd be good if we got them right now. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think we need to get them right now, because it's still it's still a lot of us that's not gonna do right when we get the money, because I feel like some of us are still gonna go back to a mindset where we gotta compete together as Black people. Like I know some people right now, somebody gonna go out and get some Balenciagas, and he gonna post them on Facebook, so somebody else gonna be like, oh, okay, well, I'm finna go get some Louis Vuittons or some Gucci or something like that. So I do get what you're saying, though, Smooth. Like, we have elevated, and we got a lot more Black people, homeowners getting in stocks and doing stuff like that. But I feel like if we got them, we all need to be together as Black people, because the Black people that do something bad with it, they're gonna highlight that. They're not gonna talk about the homeowners. They're not gonna talk about the people that's doing right with their money. They're gonna talk about the very few people that are buying Jordans that came out in 1999, or buying somebody in the hood in the Tesla, stuff like that. So I feel like we all just need to be together when we make that move, because they're not gonna highlight that.
That goes back to what Lena was talking about earlier, just unity. Talking about unity, being together. And why is it that we as Black people compete about everything? I mean, that's a question that I want to pose for later on.
My bad, I was going to answer. My bad.
Crabs in the barrel, man. Crabs in the barrel.
That's a learned behavior. It's learned behavior.
And then back to what he said a while ago, we're always, not only are we always competing for stuff, but if you really realize what's going on, man, we are giving everybody else except for the Black community our money. And when we do go to Black-owned businesses, and I was reading on Twitter the other day, this girl said this, a local girl, And she was right. Like, you go to these Black-owned businesses and they mess up one time, and you are going off. It's all hell all over your social media, all over your Facebook, your Twitter. You are giving them all kinds of hell. But these other people mess up your order. Oh, okay, well, it's okay. They'll give me a refund and it's all good. You don't go. What is that? Talk to me, Nico.
I was gonna say, or either they go in there asking for a discount rather than wanting to pay full price.
The full price. That's it right there.
Hook me up.
Hey, you hit it on the head with that one. We want to hook up.
When we can't even make full profit off of what we're selling and stuff.
Devil's advocate. I'm not even gonna ride that discount train because other people do discounts all the time. You just don't know.
1,000%.
Oh,
But
they do that.
Do Black people go asking for them?
Right. Like, do we ask them for them?
no, I'm saying like other races give other races discounts. Like, it's just not maybe as blatant as us. We know that because we do it. Like, hey, bro, let me get a discount. People getting all type of tax breaks all the time, or deals under the table, which is essentially a discount. But it's like it's not looked on as a negative thing. So I think
those people are in position to give those people those discounts though, and those tax breaks. Like, we're asking these Black people for discounts who just started their businesses. They trying to come up. They still on ground zero and trying to come up, and we already asking for a discount.
most of the time, because you ain't got the finances yourself, but you're just trying to support though. So you might need a discount.
So that's what I was going to kind of mention earlier. I was going to mention that about like the whole like bringing each other down, like competing with each other. Like, oh, you got this, I got to get that. Smoot, to your point, we're not giving ourselves enough credit, but we also not placing enough blame on everybody else, like Max said, because everybody's got that same mentality. Oh, you got a Range Rover? Yeah, I got money. I can go get a Range Rover too. That ain't just the Black community. Like, that's people in general. So, Nico, you spoke on it. It's a whole lot of people that's financially illiterate, and that's going go blow money. But I guess the biggest, I should have came at it from a different angle. The biggest thing I think is easy come, easy go. Now, if you're giving that money to our ancestors who had to go through all of that, and they know all the work and the time and the sweat and blood and tears that they put into that money, they gonna value it a little bit more. But me, I never had to go spend a whole week out in the sun. Shoot, like it's just free money to me. You know, this fell out the sky.
But I'll also say on that same token, I mean, you as a guy who like I said, who punches a time card, whether you be salary or hourly, you know the value of a dollar. You know how much your bills are. You know what you got to allocate. You know you got your kids to take care of. So once you get that money, your mind might be in a whole different headspace because, like I say, you thinking about like, well, damn, I got to take care of my kids with this $300,000. I got 100 here, 100 here. Me and baby gonna put an investment of 100 here or something. So, you know, even with that being said, everybody's mindset is gonna be the same. But you know, like I say, for some it is gonna be come easy, go, and for others it's gonna be like, shit, that is a blessing. And like I said, they gonna take it and they gonna run with it, man, and they gonna make that thing multiply. They had 300 one year, they gonna have 600 the next.
I respect that.
What's up, Cash? Real quick, guys, we hitting the 2-hour mark right here, and I want to respect everybody's time. What does it mean to be a Black man in America right now? What does that mean to you?
You have to hold yourself to a different standard, in my opinion. Just like we were taught when we were athletes, man. We can't get away. We got to wake up knowing every morning, okay, I got to be greater than great. I got to be better than, just like your different situation. I mean, if we're going for this job. I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong. You correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like I'm already at a disadvantage just because I'm Black. So I have to. These guys can go here. These other 3 guys are applying for the same job. They can go in here and go 7 out of 10 on the interview. I got to go 9 or above if I even want to put myself in a position to get that job. It's tough, but it's so rewarding. it is definitely rewarding if you look at it in the right eyes.
I'll be honest, I think right now, for me being black in America, I know there's a lot going on. I know all type of like unrest going on, but I'm proud. I'll be honest, I'm proud. Like, I feel empowered, and like we said earlier, but it also like I feel like, because what we've always learned, that black people were what? We kings, right? Black men, we kings. I literally feel like a king right now, like all the time. Because why? Because man, I'll be honest with y'all. Like walking around the hospital at work, I don't know this dude from John, but he look like me. What's up, dog? You good? You straight? I'm good, dog. Keep going. Hey, man, keep fighting, fight, cause hey, we gonna be all right. You know, so I feel more of a sense of unity right now. Like I think those Martin said earlier, as far as unity, I feel it right now. Like as far as black people together, like I honestly feel it with our black queens too. Like you can't. One thing you can't say about a black woman is she don't have a black man back. Like they are right. They out there. They out there in the streets. They out there going hard for. You know what I'm saying? I just feel empowered and proud.
I definitely feel like it's a good time to be black in America right now. The only thing that I'm worried about is like as strong and hard as we going for. I don't want them to like Marlon said. Adidas jumping on board now. Like all these things jumping on board now for Black Lives Matter. I don't want them to turn when we fighting for it and turn it into a joke. So I don't feel like we need to ease up. We need to keep the same. We was on 10 2 weeks ago. We need to be on 10 today. Because as soon as we get off the gas, they're gonna get off the gas too. So I just feel like we need to keep pushing to go forward.
And I'm on the same page as far as like with Smoot. I mean, being a black man in America right now, I mean, I feel that sense of pride. I mean, even before the things that are happening now, you could see it in the way that our culture started to move. You would see more people calling themselves kings and queens. That wasn't necessarily the norm for what I would used to see growing up. So I mean, nowadays, I mean, you see everybody calling each other kings and queens, and now with the things as far as like with even in the entertainment industry, you see more black films out being on a mass scale. They're promoting more of that, and it gives us a sense of pride in putting our culture out there more on the mainstream. So yeah, I mean, in this time now, I mean, it gives us more of a sense of pride than anything that from what I can see.
I feel like it's being black in America is purposeful right now. And that was my word for 2020 was intentional. So I think we got a lot of purpose that can be fulfilled, like I said, in this moment. Like this is a perfect moment for the black man to tell his story. For not only white America and America in general, but for the generations that's coming up after us. Like now is the time to tell them, hey, yeah, this is what it feels like to be black in America. What you see, this is real. But there is a wave of change going on right now. And our time as, I don't know how old everybody is on here, but I think we're in a prime right now. And, it's our time to take up the burdens and reach everybody and carry the message. But, we can only go for so long, so we need to use our voices and our experiences to get, the young 20s and the teenagers, get them going on. This is what we're fighting for. So I just feel a big sense of purpose on, education, not only in school, but also just education in the community, and letting people know that you are somebody, and this thing is bigger than just an individual or individual community. Like this thing is nationwide.
If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything, man. I'm proud to see everybody standing for something.
I think for me personally, man, I'm feeling inspired. more than anything right now. And that's my sense of purpose as a black man. You guys all know me personally, and so you know I live in the histories of 1960s and the civil rights movement, and and I'm sure we've all had conversations separately, like, what would you do if you was in the 60s? Like, where would you stand? Where would you be? And it's like we in the wake of something that's very similar to the 1960s civil rights movement, and so for me. Um, I'm here in this moment, and my voice needs to be an amplifier so that I can uplift other people's voice. I don't need to speak for anybody else. I need to be able to pass them the microphone and let them speak for themselves. And so, really, the premise of this big conversation was just to do that, to give people of different perspectives this platform for us to talk. As I told y'all before, we'll drop this on social medias, on YouTube. I'm gonna splice it up a little bit, but this is going to be a conversation that's put out there. And I'm gonna call you guys back later. So the next segment of this will be a women's panel. So I'm gonna look for their perspectives. And after that, I'm gonna look for students, kids, 16 to 21, their perspectives. And then we'll have a combination of all three of those groups into one room. And the questions will change and the perspectives will change. But I think this is a time for us to capitalize on the momentum. So this is not just a moment, but it becomes a movement, right? We don't need to lose that. As the guys I went to school with, man, our coach used to say, when you get rattled, don't slow. You need to put on more steam. And so at this point, yes, sir, we got to put on more steam, man, and keep this train on the track. So anything you guys want to close with, you can close with, but I'll shut it down here after everybody conclude.
I just
Only
say,
thing I
oh,
was
go
going
ahead.
to add, go ahead, Paul, my bad. Only thing I was going to add is I was just going to say, man, with everything that's going on right now, how a lot of people look for, something that benefits them right away. This might not be the thing that benefits us right away. What's going on right now, this might be for the generation to come. So, I mean, if we don't see change as fast as we want to, that doesn't mean necessarily that it's not happening, as long as, everybody continues to keep their mind on it. And as Small said, put on more steam. So with that being said, man, nobody get discouraged. Everybody here try to keep your head up as much as you can, as far as, with the things that we can control, and, the things that we can't, man, hey, just lead up to the big man and, just try to encourage the next person.
Yeah, absolutely right, Nico. Keep the steam, man. But my biggest thing, just everybody keep focusing on your mental. Everybody was talking about how they was exhausted and tired. And yes, we're gonna be there because you're fighting the fight. But make sure that you're not getting overloaded. And that's one thing that Jeremy does well. He always checks in, man. How's your mental? How's it going, man? And make sure you have somebody that you can talk to and get everything off your chest that you need to get off your chest. And I just appreciate, man, Jeremy, let me be a part of this. And Nico and Smoot and Peyton, it's just a pleasure meeting you guys and dialogue and diving into this deep dive.
All right, guys, I appreciate it, man. I'll be in contact with y'all about the next steps of this, but I'm echoing what everybody said, man. Keep your mental good, keep fighting a good fight, man, and let's keep pushing and encouraging. Boy, I got you.
Hey, everybody, in that group message, text your name so I can lock everybody in my phone. Hey, like AC said, like somebody else mentioned, I think it was Nico, like we got to check in on each other. If we ain't gonna check in on each other, who's gonna check in? And I got it bad. Like I'll be to myself, and a whole week or a month to go by, and man, like I ain't reach out to nobody, or I haven't been an outlet. Like I haven't been able to escape. So the most valuable thing we got is our health and mental for that. So we definitely got to look out for our bodies and our minds.
All right, guys, I'm gonna holler at y'all. Appreciate everything you done for me, man. Keep uplifting and keep pushing forward.
Y'all boys be easy, man. Take it easy.
Yes, sir. Y'all be good, man.